Yeah.
the time cost of it,
Yeah.
and then the monetary cost of it, if you ask me honestly.
As an entrepreneur and a dentist,
Yes.
what are the challenges that you really face?
Healthcare in India, like I said, it comes back to what do we value. We don't value oral care or oral beauty, like I say,
Yeah.
which is why you don't spend on it. I genuinely believe that there is a market for everyone, but you need to also know how to market yourself. It's the habit creation of saving and investing that makes a huge difference.
In India, dental treatment costs don't typically get covered
They don't.
in your insurance, in your basic insurance policy.
What are your top 3 investments? Of course, I want to know.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Happy Hour with Fin Cocktail. Today we have with us Dr. Namrata Jadwani, very, very popularly known as Dr. Nam. She is a dentist, an entrepreneur, and a fabulous content creator. And we're so glad that she can join us today on this episode. Welcome, Dr. Nam.
Thank you so much for the lovely intro. And very happy to be here in this happy hour.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did your journey towards becoming a dentist really start?
So, basically, how I became a part of the most hated profession, possibly globally, and the most phobia driven profession globally, right? So, I come from the sciences. I genuinely believe that what we grow up seeing around ourselves, right? Our family, etc., does impact who we choose to be. Either we choose to follow or go completely the opposite way. So, my dad's a doctor, and that's all I've seen growing up. The midnight calls, the random hours, the
Emergencies,
emergency, everything, right? So I've not known more of a life beyond science, I'll be very honest. And if it was not science, for me it was always in the creative stream, in the arts.
Okay.
Unlike y'all, I really lacked a love or knowledge of numbers. So but I've seen the perils of that life as well. You don't get as much time for your family. You don't really, the amount you have to give of yourself. I was not sure if I was capable of that in both ways,
Sure.
in terms of a skill set as well as in terms of time. So I started researching about cosmetic dentistry. I happened to chance upon an article actually in a newspaper about how cosmetic dentistry is very upcoming. And I felt like this was the perfect blend of art plus science, right? Fewer hours, more amenable hours,
A good work-life
everything, right? So some sort of a balance, some sort of a somnolence of a holistic life, so to speak. And that's how I chose, like I said, to be in the most phobia-driven profession in the world.
Wow,
Yeah.
very, very interesting. So these days, I know that it's increasingly become more and more expensive to become a doctor.
Yes.
And sometimes you wonder how long it'll actually take for you to recover those costs that you spent on your education.
Correct.
What are your thoughts on that?
So, of course, I feel like there is a certain expense now, even to become a doctor. There is a traditional path where government colleges don't charge as much, but there will always be cost of living, cost of, because a lot of people move. So there's always a cost of living. There'll be a cost of education. There'll be a cost of material. I would say on a ballpark, if you do your master's and your undergrad from a private school, which is, I would say, the more expensive form
Route,
of
yeah.
education, right? It would easily cost you at least around 30 to 50 lakhs. I'm saying for 8 to 9 years of education. Easy, I'm saying, in private school. And this is notwithstanding the material that you buy for yourself, the kind of other investments that come in. So easy, I would say 25 to 50, given that if we go pan-India, if you just do, say, 5 years. So it's 5 years of dentistry and 3 years if you do your postgrad.
Okay.
So that's 8 years total. So the cost of your education is not just, of course, the amount, but also the cost of time. Because by the time, say, we're done with our masters, we're already around 27 years old and not earning. So I feel like that is another thing that you need to account for when you're choosing your path,
Definitely,
becoming a
'cause-
doctor.
Absolutely, because I remember that I got my first paycheck when I was 22.
Wow.
And
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
sort of makes you think about how much longer you're just sort of devoting that kind of time and
Exactly.
energy into studying.
Exactly.
And I have a lot of doctors in my family, and I
Yeah.
know that my cousin, was studying cardiology.
Yes.
And by the time he finished doing everything that he needed to do
Yeah.
in order to complete his education, he was already 32.
Yes. So you
So-
technically start earning in your 30s.
Yes.
If you're a doctor.
Yes.
Very realistically, we do end up getting a stipend, right? When
Hmm.
you're in college. And would you like to know what the amount was? What used to be, at least, I would say, about a decade ago, used to be 1,000 rupees.
1,000 rupees.
At
I was going to say
25.
5,000 bucks, but
No, at 25, I'm hoping it's better. But how much better, right? It
Yeah.
would possibly be 2,000 to 3,000.
yeah.
So, like I said, right, there's, of course, the cost of education. So even if you're in government college and you're not spending as much,
Yeah.
you know, it may be maybe much fewer in the lakhs. But there's a cost of the living conditions over there. There's a cost of basic sanitation. Like, it is abysmal, okay? I know I'm straying away from the topic a little, but it is abysmal the conditions in which doctors have to study. You know, you're a healthcare provider living in minimal healthcare conditions. Because I've done a stint at a government college. I've actually done it here itself at VT
Oh,
for 6 months.
okay.
And I was literally sick for 3 out of those 6 months, given how many throat
Unsanitary
infections I
conditions.
contracted. Yes, absolutely. So, you know, like I said, the cost for a doctor is not just money.
yeah.
There's a lot of other things that I feel like it's always better to know the mental cost of it,
Yeah.
the time cost of it,
Yeah.
and then the monetary cost of it, if you ask me honestly.
Right. Wow. That's a great way of putting it. I mean, that's something that we don't usually sort of think of.
Because you
know?
always only hear about the glory of being
Yeah,
a doctor, right? The
yeah.
name doctor attached to your name, or just, you know, the adulation that you get with it, or just the fact that, you know, oh my God, it's such a noble profession.
Yeah.
You know, no
But
one
is it
really-
even noble really anymore? I mean, I'm
Ah.
straying away from the topic, but
yes.
sometimes I feel like, you know, a lot of advice is given just for their own monetary interest. Not all doctors,
Of course. So commercialization. Right?
Commercialization, that's what I mean.
So that's the thing, right? Now we're caught between doctors needing to understand that their work is a business,
Yeah.
right? And then doctors who are actually not being true to that business also,
Yeah.
right? Which
Ethically
is where
incorrect.
there has to be a fine balance. Where I feel like people purely in this country believe that we should not pay beyond a certain amount for healthcare,
Yeah.
right? If you'll even see in the spending population, I'll count that as a, you know, general sort of subset, because I understand that we'll only consider that tier
Yeah.
of the spending population. And you can tell me honestly, right? You will spend about, I would say, 5 to 10,000 on a high street brand quad set, right? But people will negotiate for a filling, I'm saying from my profession, which would be under 3,000, which will last you at least 5 to 10 years. So where is the true value? And what you'll turn
But you
around
really
and
have
say is,
people coming into your clinic and saying that, "Kam karo paisa."
yes, we have. So doctors, people haggle with doctors. People haggle to a point where I haven't faced it to this extent, but one of my friends was actually told, "Aapka nahi, mera nahi, itne mein kar do,"
Oh my God.
for a filling, right? And the thing is, you'll see the same patient with a high-end designer bag,
Yeah.
with everything on point. So, which is why I'm saying I'm talking about this category, because it's where you choose to spend.
Yeah.
Okay. Having said that, I'm not going to deny that, of course, there is going to be a section of medical society which may be getting commissions from certain, say, imaging, etc., right? Or certain doctors who may be over-treating. So I'm not going to try and glorify
Of course.
just one side. But I genuinely believe that that kind of, let's say, almost corruption, so to speak, it's no different from any other profession.
Yeah.
Like I said, we are so fixated on the fact that medical and paramedical is noble that we truly believe that there should be a bare minimal cost to it, especially in India. You know, like I tell all my patients this, it's fantastic to be a patient in India, but it's much better to be a doctor, especially a dentist
Abroad,
outside of India.
Outside of India.
We have patients flying in for treatment here,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That's how
Medical tourism is a big
exactly,
thing.
because that's how cost effective it is.
Yeah.
And yet you'll have people haggling. So especially when you have to be a provider, I guess doctors also, maybe a few of them may be looking at other means of deriving their income, which is unfortunately where the commercialization may have stepped in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting take. Now I know that you've set up your own practice.
Yes.
And you've been doing that for a few years now.
Yes, yes.
How easy or difficult is it in India to be able to do that?
To start your own dental practice,
Yes.
right? Okay, so there are a couple of factors. Firstly, I came out and I started off my practice literally at 20. I finished, say, my master's at 27. I think at 27 and a half, I started my practice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, I was pretty, I would say, young as a doctor, as a dentist to start their own practice. But that's because when I did my master's, I did it with the pure view of starting my own practice. So I chose a branch that I knew would be more lucrative in your own
Location.
in your own practice. See, there's a lot of consulting, right? Like if you'll see an orthodontist, basically a braces or an aligner specialist, they'll go from clinic to clinic. That's consulting.
Correct.
That's where you don't need your own setup. And that is a great form of practice, by the way, initially, if you're not sure whether you want to set up on your own or not. That's one factor. Number two is obviously, rather number one would be finances, right?
Yeah.
Do you have the finances to set up? That's number one.
That was my main question.
Of course, of course.
It's like a big thing to be able to pay the rent of a particular spot, to be able to buy your equipment, your dental chair.
Correct.
Everything, right?
So I think there are a few questions you need to ask yourself prior to making that investment also, right? Say, assuming you have a certain amount to start off with. Number one, are you experienced enough to start the practice? That's number one. Number two, do you have even 50% of the finances? If you do, it definitely makes sense to start at a smaller scale. You don't need to go all out and spend like a whopping amount, right? Create a space that is sanitary, which is presentable, which today, honestly, say even with like furniture, etc., right? You have brands which are providing you really good quality stuff at a lower amount. Say with a dental chair today. You get a dental chair, literally a great functional dental chair at 1 to 1.5 lakhs.
Wow.
Right? And a mid-level, a good one would be somewhere between 3 to 5 lakhs. And it can literally go on to 18 plus lakhs. You don't need to invest in that 18 plus or even 5 lakhs.
Yeah, you can get the lower end of the spectrum.
Exactly. Start with your basic materials. You can literally start off with even 15 lakhs, which is not a whopping amount, 15 to even 20 lakhs to start your basic dental practice. The other way, if you're really keen, is to have a partner, right? Have a partner where you can split costs,
correct,
share the space. And also, I would say when you're starting off young, it's a lot easier to double up the practice when you have two avenues of patients. Right. And because it's service based, say if one person is traveling, one person is unwell, you always have someone to cover.
Absolutely.
Because you know the doctor always needs to be there in such a profession.
Yeah.
So that's the second thing. I feel, and lastly, and this is mainly for girls, I'm not being sexist here, given that stereotypically we still end up, moving countries, moving cities, when we get married, or even location, right? Even within the same city. If you are on the precipice of, getting married and you are not sure where you're going to be married. Like I'm a single child. I knew I wanted to be in Bombay, right? I was pretty set on that. So I wasn't actually married when I started my practice, but I was very clear, which is why I could take that jump, into starting my practice, and I stuck to it. If you are someone who doesn't know, utilize that time to get more experience, shadow an experienced dentist, because I did that for a year. I did government college. You need to have that experience, that confidence, and the finances to be able to start a practice.
Right.
So this is the only advice I would give budding dentists.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. I know you wear many hats, and you've gone on to become an entrepreneur now with your brand 7 Oral Care.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how that happened and what makes 7 different from any other toothbrush.
Okay. So 7 was conceptualized, I would say, around a year and a half ago. I've been wanting to do something for a long time now, right? I knew for a fact that there's only so much of me that I could give to the practice. And obviously with the practice, I was limiting the oral care reach to just a few patients, right? I was wondering, is there a way to make authentic oral care reach pan-India, at least for now? I've been testing oral care products, obviously, as a part of my profession for more than a decade now. I've tried almost every oral care product that there is in India and globally, and nothing really made me feel like it hits the mark, right? Beauty has advanced, tech has advanced, oral care has not advanced, right? If we still go to our washroom, and that could possibly be because, it's not something that's visible. Our serums show, our lipsticks show, our Dyson will show, our, a lot of products you'll invest in them possibly because they also show.
Yeah.
But because this is something that we're just traditionally known to neglect, we don't invest. Neither in dental care nor in oral care.
Absolutely. That absolutely stands true for me as well. I mean, I use a basic Oral-B toothbrush.
Right.
And basic toothpaste. And I've never really bothered to get into
Exactly. What am I using?
Yeah.
What are my ingredients of the toothpaste?
Should I be changing this? Should
Correct.
I be using a better toothbrush or a better toothpaste? I don't even know. I mean,
Exactly.
these are things I don't question.
Correct. How long should I brush for?
Yeah.
What is the right technique of brushing? Right. It's very easy to blame the dentist.
Yeah.
Right. When we're not even equipped to using the correct tools for oral care.
Yeah.
So this was an idea. And I did a bit of research, and of course I realized that product and say even a little bit of marketing, I do have an understanding of it, is one aspect of it. I completely, as both of you are aware, I have zero knowledge of numbers. I have no understanding of, even in my dentistry journey, we'll come to that later. I got financially literate a lot later. So I could very clearly understand that there's going to be a huge segment missing in terms of the business. So I found a partner in my sister-in-law, actually, Tanvi. She's not only somebody who's excellent with finances, admin, and we have a shared love of marketing, advertising, but she's also somebody who really enjoys oral care, who understands the space and finds it as exciting as I did. So yeah, we teamed up together, and the Super Brush, which is what we call our true sonic toothbrush, is the first of its kind in India. It's our first product in the space of oral beauty. The idea is that it should feel like a cleanup at home every single time you brush.
Wow.
The idea is to make brushing fun, whether you choose it because of the color, whether you choose it because of a particular function, right? Like, it's waterproof. You can brush in the shower. You can brush in your sleep because there's a 2-minute timer.
Yeah.
We have 3 different modes, so that if you're someone, those kiss all your teeth. Correct. We've given you that feeling without damaging your teeth.
Yeah.
If you're someone who likes to be very dainty and gentle with your teeth, there is a mode for that as well. We've made it super easy. You have an inbuilt tongue cleaner, so you don't need to carry an external tongue cleaner.
That's interesting.
The
I
first
love that.
of its kind globally, actually. Most importantly, we have a 60-day battery life. We have 80 devices to charge today, so we realize you may not want another.
Yeah.
A lot of people who actually dabble with electric toothbrushes move back to manual because they're bored of charging it.
Yeah.
So here you can literally charge about 5 to 6 times a year and you're sorted.
Wow.
It's easy to travel. You'll see that there's a matching vegan leather travel case. We're trying to be sustainable. So yeah, it's the first of its kind. And we really hope to create like a universe of oral beauty with more authentic products.
Wow.
And hence the dabble into entrepreneurship.
That's amazing. That sounds so good. But as an entrepreneur and a dentist,
Yes.
what are the challenges that you really face that are, hard for you to sort of overcome at this stage?
So there are
And let me put
yes.
the word mother in there in the mix.
Oh my God.
You're a mother now, you're a dentist and an entrepreneur.
Yes.
How do you sort of juggle it all? What are the challenges that you typically face?
So I think being a mother yourself, I think you'll be the best person to resonate. And to be very honest, there's no such thing as balance, right?
Yeah.
I truly believe that we can try our best to create a balance. There's no such thing as equal time or equal, division for all. I genuinely believe that each day has its own precedence.
Yeah.
Right? Like today I was here, so this took precedence, right? But there are days I choose to just stay at home and be with my son, and that's what I choose to do.
Yeah.
I choose to be a mother that day. I'm still struggling to understand how to maneuver through these roles. I'll be honest with you. And if I do find a way, hopefully in the next podcast, I should be able to share it.
Yeah.
But as an entrepreneur, I would definitely say that there are multiple challenges in the startup space, especially in the oral care category, right? You're doing some sort of category creation. People have not heard of, upgrading their oral care. People don't think about their oral care, right? Like it's a part of your day that you'll just do and go ahead.
Yeah.
So there are huge challenges in education. And that I think would be common as a dentist as well as an entrepreneur. There are huge challenges in price points. Again, as a dentist, as an entrepreneur, because to justify spends at a dentist or on oral care is very challenging for India.
Yeah.
You know, outside of India, you know, people are obsessed with their teeth. They invest in their teeth. You know, having the shiniest teeth is almost like a status symbol, you know, outside of India. But out here, it's just, we'll do the bare minimal, we'll get by, and you are fleecing us.
Yeah.
So I feel like in both the categories, I think those are the three things that, you know, we always end up facing. But having said that, the proof is usually in the pudding, and the people who've tried the brush say there's no going back. They end up picking it up for their family, for their friends, for their partners. So we know we're onto something. We know that it's an uphill task, and we understand that, you know, it's going to be a while before, you know, some startups just go like, it's like boom, boom, you know, you've created something and they fly. We know that that's not going to happen here, but we're not here to just create a marketing company.
Right.
Like a lot of the new age oral care companies are. It's much easier, you know, to do that. We're here to create something authentic, and if it takes time, then so be it.
Yeah, because in today's world where there are the likes of the Colgates and the Oral-Bs and the
Yes.
Pepsodents,
Yes.
you know, it's going to be hard to sort of create that space for
Oh,
Seven.
absolutely. So we are dealing with legacy players, right? Which is why maybe there was no disruption in this industry. And I'll be honest with you, right? Like today, a Colgate or an Oral-B, they're not creating gimmicky products, so to speak. They're creating dated products. There's a huge difference.
Basic ones.
You know, they're dated in terms of functionality. They're dated in terms of design. They're dated in terms of ingredients. Like anti-cavity ingredients have upgraded. A lot of toxic ingredients have, you know, we now know about toxicity which need to be removed. So they were good to a certain point. They haven't advanced. They haven't upgraded. And that's where the problem has set in. And because of now all of us as a society becoming a lot more evolved, we read ingredients. We want the best in every space. That's why there's a market for us, you know, and we're very clear that we are entering the space of oral beauty, you know, which is not something that they dabble with. Like, even if you see the appearance, the aesthetic appearance of the toothbrush, right? It is so boring. Like that blue, plasticky, white, pink striation, you know, the head is yay big. Like, as a dentist, you know, it is almost shameful for us to even advise those after a point. You know, now going to the electric brushes, there have been some good electric brushes, you know, with some of these companies, but some of them accumulate mold. Some of them don't have the modes. Some of them look this thick, right? So, like I said, we've seen that there is a space in the market. There's a huge market gap because of lack of advancement, and we're here to fill that gap, basically.
Right, right. And what are the challenges that you're typically facing at this point in time with regards to scaling up?
So honestly, like I said, right, education. Today, if we were to sell, like, say, any skincare or a serum, right, I think we have more knowledge about actives today, and we'll have more knowledge about serum. You'll be very happy to splurge on a 6K, 8K plus serum or a cream, which is a replenishable, right? But to spend, say, up to 5,000 on a toothbrush, right, which will last you years, and the heads cost you less than 500 rupees or 250 rupees a head, more sustainable. But oh my god, you're fleecing us, right? That's sometimes
that's the mentality.
That is, I do believe we are here to change that. Globally, that trend has already had an uptake. Internationally, I feel like the best toothbrushes cost about $200 to $300. Okay, we're less than 50% of that. Like I said, it's an advanced technology. It's a custom technology. It's custom vibrations. It's made. And also just imagine, right? I've created two categories where one will eat into the other, right? Because if I'm giving you a device that acts as a cleanup, then your requirement
you're not really going to go to the dentist as often.
It reduces. So we never negate a dentist. That's the thing, right? Because we're very authentic in our messaging. We never negate the need for a dentist. But yes, it reduces, right? If your inflammation reduces, you go just once, twice a year to the dentist. Hopefully, the incidence of your cavities reduces, right? People talk to you more because you have less bad breath. You know, just basic stuff like that. So we're trying, that's why I said we're into the category of oral beauty in an authentic way. I don't think currently we can really compete with the Hindustan Lever and, you know, P&G. We can't, right?
Multinationals
we can't, of course. We don't have the kind of budgets.
Very long legacy and
absolutely
a very different market also to cater to, I believe.
Exactly. But which is why we're creating our own.
Yes.
You know, a more mass premium, educated, market which was looking for something like that or didn't know they were looking for something like that, and they found it. in
Yeah,
us,
that's
basically.
exactly who I am. I mean, I didn't even know I needed to do this.
Exactly. So I'm waiting to hear your feedback
For
after
sure.
using it.
100%.
Yes.
So recently you put up a really funny reel,
Yeah.
which spoke about how to make your dentist rich.
Yes. Yes.
I absolutely loved that one.
Yeah.
But really, like, tell us about the cost of neglect.
Yes, of course. And if I think we've also done something together on that,
Yes.
on the cost of neglect. It's like this, right? The dichotomy between I hate going to the dentist, so you go only in pain.
Yeah.
And then you say the dentist fleeces me, like I've said,
Yeah.
because you're going only in pain. And I've spent years creating content about dentistry. I've tried to make light of a very, very heavy subject. Try to make it more educative, more fun. And obviously, I've done every kind of oral care tip because I'm creating since more than, I would say, 5 years now. Then I realized that people don't want to hear, right, brush twice a day. People don't want to hear come, to your dentist twice a year. So then I was like, why not, educate them in a way that it makes
Appeals
them
to
realize
them.
that yes, save money by coming to the dentist regularly, right? The sweet spot is how do we save money?
Yeah.
And how do we not constantly think that the dentist is out to just, absorb a lot of money from us? So, which is why I decided to do the reel. But let me give you an average costing, right? The simplest maths that I know. Assuming that the average cost of a consult would be around 500, right? Across, I would say, tier 1, tier 2 cities, 500 would be the basic cost. A filling would cost 1,000 rupees. Okay. That's your math.
Wow.
Right? You'll pay 2x for something that will have to be replaced in a few years at least. When you're paying 50%, 1,000 rupees for 2 checkups and no pain. Right? And I'm saying bare minimal. 1,000 is the bare minimal. I would say it's usually the upwards of 1,500 rupees. To be honest, 1,500 to 1,000 is usually the math for a filling.
Right.
But I'm even assuming that at the bare minimal, somebody's charging 1,000. You're spending double for any other procedure but a checkup and a cleanup. Assume a cleanup also to be 1,000 rupees. That's 1,500. Right? That's the bare minimal. Otherwise, you have bleeding gums.
Yeah.
You will come to your dentist 2 or 3 times. You'll need
with cavities and this and that.
Absolutely. I'm saying cavity is the baseline.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a smaller cavity.
Yeah.
The bigger cavities go upwards. Root canals go upwards of 3,000 to 5,000.
Yeah.
Right? So always calculate 1,000 in a year.
Versus any of
these.
Yeah.
Any of these, basically.
Yeah.
And it's what you choose, because also the thing with dentistry, what people don't realize is that, your hair regrows.
Yeah.
You can have a messed up hair color. Your hair artist could mess up something. You can cut it off, it'll regrow. Same with your nails, right? Your nails will regrow, you'll chip it off, anything. Your skin, you exfoliate, you use some chemical or an active which doesn't work for you. Once you mess up with your enamel, you have one layer.
Yeah.
Once you've messed that up, you've messed that up for life. So if you have a cavity, you have a cavity for life.
Yeah.
There's no reversing that. Which is why prevention is better than restoration.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the key point that we always try and tell our patients. But it's like a cycle, right? Phobia leads to avoidance, leads to higher spend.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes. The vicious circle.
It's literally, it's very vicious. We're trying to break that. I do believe that over the years, people have started becoming more aware. Like through the years, the number of people who are very regular with their cleanups with me, right? It's the uptake is there. It's just a lot slower than the other segments, I would say.
Yeah. Even if I were to put myself in the situation, because I have so many dentists in my family.
Yes.
It's just easier to do any of these things.
Exactly.
Because I'm not really shelling out that much money from my pocket.
Correct.
But if there were a cost attached to it, I think my thought process would be very different.
And think about it, right? How much does a facial at the Dermat cost you?
Dude,
and you go for them, right?
I do go for them, and I know that it costs anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 rupees minimum.
What is an average cost of hair color?
Upwards
I'm saying an average.
Upwards of 5,000, 8, 9, 10,000 sometimes.
What is the cost of a cleanup?
1,000 rupees.
But बहुत ज़्यादा charge कर रहे हैं आप. So that's the thing. I feel like healthcare in India, like I said, it comes back to what do we value as a society.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is we don't value oral care or oral beauty, like I say.
Yeah.
Which is why you don't spend on it.
Yeah. I love
Basically.
how you've sort of put that out.
But that's true.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that's been my biggest takeaway as a dentist and as an entrepreneur in the same space,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, yeah.
So you mentioned that you're really bad with numbers. And I know that you keep mentioning this time and again
There's
to
a
us.
reason I said 500 and 1,000. That's the math I can do.
So tell us, when did you decide to become a little bit more like financially aware, literate,
Yes.
and sort of start learning along your journey?
So there's a very interesting incident actually, which forced me to be financially literate. So for me, I came from a very traditional mindset that who doesn't pay their doctor? You know what I mean? Like, started my practice super young. Everyone felt like, Arey, who's this kid running her practice? Then, literally started using makeup to look more mature at the clinic at some point. And I was very, very flexible with payment. I didn't have very firm payment terms. Open to, of course, giving subsidized rates, as we all do, right? Sometimes wherever needed. So, very flexible and constantly not driven by money or not focused on money. Those are two very different things, right? A couple of years in, I realized that firstly, people don't like to pay their doctors.
Yeah.
They try avoiding their best to not pay only.
Yeah.
So the number of reminders that had to be sent down were a whopping amount, right? You'll be surprised. But the turning point for me came to me when this patient had a huge, like a long-term treatment, which was of a significant amount, right? The mistake I made, because I run the practice, was I didn't have any financial protocols in place, which was, how do you communicate the entire treatment plan? How do you have that on paper, on email, on, places where you can go back and it's dated? So this may seem extremely simple to you, right? Being from the finance background. But I'm not even kidding. Literally, like I said, right? Maybe in my own head, it was the nobility or just the fact that people pay. That trust
Just
that
the
I
assumption
had.
that
Yeah, people will pay
eventually
you.
to
It's
aayega.
okay. 1 month later is
Yeah.
fine, right? It is a hefty sum. I understand it. So it'll come in a month. We finished the treatment and there was a decent chunk left. So I'm not saying that no payment was made. There was a decent chunk left. Significantly elder patient, right? Significantly older. So, there's that little reverence also, massive
Yeah.
age difference, which again I've learned it's okay. A patient is a patient, irrespective of age. And we used to keep chasing him or we used to keep sending him gentle reminders. And eventually we got this long message saying that you are a scam. Yeah. You are a scam and you have not told me this cost, that cost, this, a whole message. And we were taken aback because, that treatment was, touch wood, seamless, right? State of the art dentistry, state of the art material, a successful treatment, where it was done, everything went well, the follow ups were done. Then I went back and I realized I cannot prove the quote.
Any of it.
I couldn't, because we had put it in such a haphazard structure that I realized that, this is a business. People will take you for a ride. People will do anything to take you for a ride. And that's when I decided to step back and get involved with my finances. Of course, when I priced my treatments, I was involved in that, which again is a skill set that I think dentists should understand. Whether you need to price 2x, 3x, value, time, other costs apart from material. But apart from that, I was never involved, And that made me really, really, now we have very stringent protocols. If it's a part payment, it's a part payment, but it's noted. Right? We have strict follow-up system. We're very okay to, forego patients who give us a rate card of competing clinics. No, it's another thing, right? Arey, but the dentist in your lane gives it to me for 50% less.
ठीक है, करवा लो उसे.
Correct. If you don't value, because this is a hand skill set.
Yeah.
Right? This is a creative skill set. And if you don't value that, that's okay. Because we are not here to run in that rat race. We're not here to completely be like, okay, let's cut 200, 500 rupees or, X amount off to compete. You're doing a disservice to that dentist also and to your own self.
Absolutely.
So yeah, basically there are about 9 dentists in my lane. And we chose to stick to our pricing and our policies, irrespective, so that we don't cut into their work and they don't cut into ours.
Yeah, but 9 dentists.
9 dentists
That's,
in one lane.
wow. Isn't it a bit of an overcrowded space? So how do you really find your mark?
Firstly, I feel like every profession has its saturation, right? Like today, even in finance,
Yeah,
even in the content creation
that's what I
space,
was going
let's
to
be
get to.
honest.
Yeah, even there are so
Um,
many finance content creators.
Exactly. Whether we're a very populated country, and I
Mhm.
think we should really optimally use that in this case. So, yes, I genuinely believe that there is a market for everyone, but you need to also know how to market yourself,
Mm.
right? If you are running your own practice, let's be very brutally honest. We cannot be hiding ourselves and expect patients to come,
Mm.
right? The traditional form of marketing, which is word of mouth, works till you get people to initiate that word of mouth.
Mm.
Then the referrals and the word of mouth system starts. So how do you get that? Now everyone chooses differently. Some people choose traditional forms of marketing. We chose digital marketing. I chose education, content creation, and 70 to 75% of my patient base actually came from Instagram.
Wow.
A lot of friends started coming to me after they saw other friends coming to me who came through Instagram. So I would always say that yes, there is a market for everyone. You have to be very patient. We do end up sitting in an empty clinic for a bit. You don't end up with a packed clinic. I would say the average, right, from what I've seen, can be between 1 year to 3 years for an empty clinic. Be patient with that. When I say empty, I mean like really frugal,
Few
very, very few
patients.
patients. My advice would be if the few are coming in, treat them so well that they start that chain. So even if the chain starts slower, use that time to actively create content. Use that time for, there are different networking associations that you can be a part of today, right? I believe there's a BNI which you can be a part of. So there are a lot of local associations that you can be a part of. So try and be participative in any form of community to build your name. If you're not someone who's comfortable in front of the camera, doesn't want to create that much content, create content about your patients, your cases, if you don't want to be in front of the camera. But we need some form of communication, because in today's day and age, that is by and large how consumption works, right?
Absolutely. True.
So
True. So you have multiple sources of income. Okay. You are an entrepreneur and a doctor,
yes,
a dentist.
yes,
As a dentist
yes.
or a doctor, do you find it hard to manage your personal finances?
Yes, so I really initially, I feel like had I started even working on my personal finances a lot sooner, I genuinely believe that I would be in a financially much stronger position today, than I am. So I truly believe that if everyone who starts earning, whether it is from your stipend, right? And that is something I heard from your content. I'm not kidding. Is that even if you start with that 5,000 rupees, I think I even heard some reel on that,
Yeah.
that if you start even with the 5,000 rupees, the amount it adds up to later, not just because of the money, because of the habit.
Yeah.
It's the habit creation of saving and investing
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I had a very small way of saving initially, which used to be that if you are putting it, say, in a small fund, etc., money not in front of you is money saved for me. So I just use the money at hand as the money I have to spend. That is all I own, basically. But slowly I started diversifying into my portfolio, into SIPs, into other kinds of funds. I also genuinely believe that investing in gold is a really lucrative way to, in a very stable way, a small amount in gold really makes a difference. For women, if you want to, wear your gold, wear it as pure gold. There, so the melting is very less in that situation. I don't know, property, etc., happens a lot later, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But have your savings for small term, mid-term, and long term.
Wow.
Right? Yeah,
You have literally
I'm a
done my
geek.
job.
Yeah,
Why
because
am I even here?
I saw that on Fin Cocktail, and I swear I'm not kidding. I'm not even kidding. And that's when I had started, like, a couple of years ago, right? I started understanding that there are other ways of investing. So I keep some amount locked in, some amount is liquid. Because I'm also, we're a bootstrap company, I'm also investing into Seven right now. So, the influx of funds needs to be rotating currently.
Absolutely.
But I can genuinely tell everybody that if you start saving, and you have to be stringent about that amount.
Yeah.
We all know what is the base amount that we will make in a month. Even though in a profession like ours, it's not the same monthly.
It's not stable, yeah.
It's not. But you'll always know that basic amount, right? If it's not 50% also, it's okay. Start with 30-40%, but save.
Yeah.
Save, because that will truly multiply.
Yeah.
More than anything else will.
I want you to stop saying that you're not very financially literate going ahead, because you're very well.
No, I've grown to be, and I know I have a long way ahead, but that's what I'm saying, I've made the effort. We were not taught in school.
Yeah.
We were not taught in dental school. I truly believe that budgeting, finances need to be a subject in every school.
Listen, we
Every
studied
profession.
finance, and yet personal finance was not taught to us.
It is
We were
not.
taught how to read a balance sheet. We were taught how to
Correct.
read profit and loss statements. We were taught how to calculate 100 different ratios.
Yeah.
But how do you save? How do you budget? How do you manage your
Exactly.
own wealth or save your personal finances? That was something that was not touched upon ever.
Exactly. And I agree that we have financial advisors today, but I truly believe that we need to have the knowledge to be able to oversee it.
Yeah.
You can't be taken for a ride.
For sure.
It's okay to have the experts in this
Yeah.
space, but at least have a basic knowledge of what you'd like, what you're saving for, what is the multiplication that you can achieve in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
So that's, like I said, had I started saving sooner, I would be in a much, much stronger position. But I also, better late than never. You know?
Absolutely. So, Namrata, you've clearly got it all covered when it comes to managing your personal finances. But I do believe that insurance is a very, very important part of your personal finance. And I know that in India, dental treatment costs don't typically get covered
They don't.
in your insurance, in your basic insurance policy.
No.
So, if one were to deal with a dental emergency, it would be so much harder on the pocket, because even if they do sort of cover these costs, it's a minimal 10 or 15,000
Fair.
rupees,
It's-
which in case you break a tooth,
It's
that's
not
not going to
possible,
be
of course.
sort of possible to treat it in that much of an amount.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm very surprised that this has not come up, right? Given the oral care trends rising, this was something that I would have expected to come in at least 5 years ago. The lack of dental insurance impacts both patients and dentists. Let's be honest, right? Because patients don't come in for their basic care. Otherwise, even if the bare minimal was there, easily accessible, you would have patients coming in for their checkups and cleanups.
Yeah.
They would be in the cycle. They would be in the loop of oral care.
And
Which-
this is something that I know that happens abroad. I know that this happens in
It's
the Western countries.
Covered.
It's
Like,
very
I
easily
honestly
covered.
know even friends of mine who live outside of India who will go for their cleanup because their insurance covers it.
Yeah.
And I had not gone for it. I'd like to claim it.
Yeah.
But because of that, what they don't realize is that they're in such a healthy cycle of their oral care without knowing it. Thinking that, okay, they're basically just utilizing an insurance that they paid for. That's, of course, at the base level. Now, like you said, if you've broken a tooth today, the cost is going to be, say, if you have to pull out a tooth, right? Or even if you have to do a root canal plus cap, the bare minimum can't cover it.
Yeah.
I understand not covering cosmetic treatments. I get that.
Yeah.
That's covered nowhere.
Yeah.
So your veneers, your whitening is not covered, which is fine. But not covering basic treatments, pain involving, infection involving treatments means patients are suffering and patients are not availing of the cap. They're just taking care of the pain. They're doing the base level
Yeah.
and eventually they're keeping that space. So that eventually affects us as a country so much, right? Given the connection between oral care and the overall health of your body, right? It's associated with your cardiac health, with diabetes, and this is all established now with studies. So it's very appalling that we are so far behind when it comes to dental insurance. Nothing speaks larger about how much we neglect, the oral care industry, basically,
Yeah.
or the
True.
dental industry.
That's true. That's true.
So I really hope so. At least what we can do now is maybe corporates can start. Corporates do end up providing some amount of dental insurance.
Okay.
At least in-house insurance, even if it's for the bare minimal. Start giving your employees those benefits.
Yeah.
It's at a lower cost to you till you can have it at a pan-India government level.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the first step that at least the global companies can start taking, multinationals can start taking, or the bigger companies can start taking to provide a true added benefit to their employees.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So, do you have anything that you want to ask us?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you personally invest in? What are your top 3 investments? Of course, I want to know.
So,
Why not?
So, not as interesting as you think, but a large part of my portfolio is invested in mutual funds. And when I
Yes.
say large, I mean about 70% is
Yes.
in mutual funds.
Okay.
About 20% would be in stocks.
Okay.
That are also for the long term.
Yeah.
Which
Of
I've
course.
bought and I've kept with a vision that at least 5 years plus
Yeah.
के बाद देखेंगे क्या करना है. If it sort of does well, doesn't do well, of course you can take calls in the interim. But it's a portfolio that I don't actively manage. It's not day
Correct.
trading.
Understood.
And the balance 10%, as you rightly put it, it's in gold.
Yeah.
Because I think a small chunk definitely, there's a space for gold in your portfolio.
Yes.
It is an asset class that tends to do differently from the markets.
Correct.
And that's why it proves to be a good hedge to your portfolio.
Of course, and if you'll see, there's always, even if it's slower, there's a fair upward trajectory through the years.
Through the years,
steady.
slow
It's
and
that
steady.
one of those. And again, it's also a little bit liquid if needed, right?
Absolutely.
And have you invested in any IPOs?
So I'm typically not a big fan of IPOs.
Yes.
I stay away from them unless I have a lot of conviction.
Got it.
So if I do feel very strongly about a particular company that's coming up with an IPO, I will sort of apply.
Yeah.
But you know how these days people are just going crazy applying for all the IPOs that come out. I'm not one of those people.
Also with what has happened after the IPOs, after a point. That's the thing.
Because that's the thing. Like, you don't know when a company is sort of going for listing.
Yes.
At that point in time, you don't have that much information on how the stock is going to perform going forward.
Exactly.
You don't have that much public information to even study the financials
That's
of a
also
company.
too much information if
Yeah.
what they give out.
Yeah. So the best is to sort of stay away from them unless you have genuine conviction.
Understood.
And you know that this is a stock that I will probably hold on to for a while.
Yeah.
And not just ke IPO hone ke baad, list hone ke baad, I'll make those gains and sell it off.
Got it.
Got
it. Fair. Yeah, that was the one thing that I wasn't sure about. IPOs.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for joining us, Namrata. We had such a good time.
Thank you for having me. It was
and
fantastic.
It was a great chat.
Thank
you. And
see you soon.
See you soon.
Guys, Fin Cocktail has forced me to say this. It's true. But if you enjoyed my chat, which I thought was highly entertaining, please like, subscribe, share, smile, and say 7. Yeah.